Okay, this is focaccia. It's a no-knead focaccia. So easy, a panda bear can do it. So, what the hell is focaccia? It's an Italian bread. It just gets really crispy and it has a really fluffy interior. It's honestly one of my favorite breads because it's insanely easy to make. It is so highly customizable. This is a very good beginner level bread recipe because it requires zero kneading. Because we are not kneading, we are trading that with time. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this, let this rise overnight, and then tomorrow we're going to be able to enjoy this amazing focaccia. I'm going to show you the most basic recipe, and then I'm going to show you a variation that has become our favorite. Here are the ingredients. Ignore these. Here are the essentials you absolutely need to make a focaccia. You need flour. Any type of flour works. I just have all-purpose flour. That will work just fine. Yeast, corn syrup, or sugar, or honey. It doesn't really matter. The sweetener here is not meant to actually flavor the bread. It's meant to act as food for the yeast. Because what happens is that the yeast basically eats up all the sugar and it just farts out a bunch of gas. And that's what makes the bread rise and does all that cool bread shit. I use corn syrup because number one, it's cheaper, but for those who want to make this without using any animal products, this is kind of your option to use corn syrup, but I haven't really noticed a change in flavor. Do whatever you want, okay? As long as you have some sort of sugar for the yeast to feed on, that's cool. You need olive oil, and I recommend using a pretty good quality olive oil because most of the flavor from this bread is coming from the olive oil. This is not a bread that you're supposed to eat like every day. There's quite a bit of olive oil in this recipe, so don't like freak out. But just know that's where most of the flavor comes from, and that's how it gets such this nice freaking awesome crisp and crust. You just need some butter. That's not going in the actual bread. It's just going to be used to grease up your pan. You think there'd be enough in the oil, but this is just to double make sure. And then some salt. I don't even know why I put this on the freaking tray, but you need salt. I'm just trying to tell you, this is freaking easy. Go ahead, give this a shot. And that is your base focaccia. I'm gonna put a little spinny spin on it. We're gonna introduce caramelized onions and some rosemary. You can do a ton of cool stuff with it, like grape tomatoes, basil. There's a lot of different applications for focaccia. I've made sandwiches or kind of like a snack bread to go along with pasta. You need a baking tray. This is an 11 by 17 baking tray. If you want like that snack style focaccia, like the thinner kind, it comes out to about yay thick, then use this. If you want a thick one, like with 3 or 4 C's, give me a second, you'll use one of these guys. This is a little deeper, it's more like a dish, and this gets you those thick boys, which is perfect for sandwiches. How big is this motherfucker? I don't know. I'm gonna have some text pop up and say, BAM! That's how big it is. BAM! But today I'm gonna be making a snack style. But also, maybe this may be a future video or something. You can make a pretty bitchin' pizza with this too, just saying. Just saying. Okay. Anywhoozers, one thing I highly recommend, especially for beginners, I think you should just have one of these in your kitchen at all times. Oh, what the hell? Okay, it's a kitchen scale. They're under 20 bucks and they provide an immense amount of utility. If you go with this kitchen scale, you are basically ensuring that you cannot fuck this up. I try to go by weight instead of volume because I find that using weight is more accurate and it's more foolproof for me because sometimes flour clumps up, it does all that weird shit. This is just way easier for me. Let's get started, shall we? Before we get started, just want to let you know that this is Bon Appetit's recipe for the most part. I've just made that change to the corn syrup and I'm adding some toppings. Bon Appetit doesn't have a video on this, so your panda bear is in for the rescue. Anyways, you're gonna grab the biggest bowl that you have because this fucker is going to rise. Put in 7 grams of active dry yeast, 2 tablespoons corn syrup, honey, or sugar, then 2.5 cups of lukewarm water, and you're going to whisk this. Let it sit for about 5 minutes. You should see this mixture foam up a little bit. This is called blooming the yeast. You're basically just checking if the yeast is still alive. If nothing happens, then you should probably toss it because your yeast is dead. Sorry. So once that is done, you're gonna add in your flour. flour, 625 grams, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. Give this a good mix with a rubber spatula until no dry streaks remain, and that is pretty much it for the mixing part. From here, you're going to make some room and pour in 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Rotate the dough so that it's covered well by the oil. At this point, cover with plastic wrap. Stick this into your fridge from anywhere from 8 to 24 hours. Now, if you are just really wanting to eat this today, you can also just let this rise at room temperature for 3 to 4 hours. Just know that if you do this, it's not gonna be as good as it would be if you let it rise overnight. The next day, after this is doubled in size, you're going to lift it up and ooh, this looks sexy. Grab 2 forks, get under the dough, lift it up and fold it into the center. You're gonna do a quarter turn and you're going to do this. Again, go around the bowl total of 2 times, so you're gonna do a total of 8 folds. Once that is done, grab some butter and generously butter the pan. And it might seem a little ridiculous that this will stick. Focaccia is a high hydration dough, which means there's a lot of water in it. It is sticky. You're going to pour about a tablespoon of olive oil. Yes, I know it's crazy, but you need some to let this focaccia bathe in. Just drop the focaccia dough straight in, and then you're going to turn this a couple times to get the dough well incorporated with the oil. Now you're going to let this rise at room temperature, uncover anywhere from 1.5 hours to 4 hours, or until it's doubled in size. While the focaccia is rising, let's start our caramelized onions. So on low heat, put in some butter and finely sliced or diced onions. I'm doing onion slices here, and we're just gonna let this go low and slow, stirring occasionally. I finish it off with a little bit of balsamic vinegar just to give it a little bit more punch. With the rosemary, we're gonna use about 2 tablespoons. Chop that up really finely, set that off to the side. Preheat your oven to 450 degrees. This is the fun part. Pour some oil on your hands and you're gonna get your hands well oiled, otherwise you're gonna stick to the dough like a motherfucker. You're going to create divots, stretch out your fingies, and you're just gonna press down really hard and really press down. Don't go light on this. This is where a lot of people mess up. Press down until you feel the bottom of the pan, or aggressively playing the piano. So once the dimples have all formed, drizzle on another tablespoon of olive oil. I know it's a lot, it's okay, you'll be fine. Sprinkle with flaky sea salt preferably, but I'm just using kosher salt. Okay, so this is for science. I'm doing it audible. I'm going to use some mozzarella on just some parts of it. I mean, because for science, and some Parmigiano Reggiano. I have leftover basil and it's starting to go bad, so I'm gonna just tear it all over. Remember, focaccia, you can do anything you want, but we're gonna do the caramelized onions and rosemary on everything, okay? Spread this all over on top of your focaccia evenly. Stick this in the oven anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. You're just looking until it's golden brown. Once the focaccia is done, take it out of the oven and cut and serve immediately. This is so good straight out of the oven. Eat it on its own, eat it as a side, eat it with your face. Holy shit! I am so flippin' excited for this one. Do you hear that? How crispy that is? Oh. Look at the bottom of that. Look how crispy that is. Holy shit. That's what dreams are made out of. Okay, here we go. Ah! Oh, it's so good. Crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. Oh, it's my perfect bread. Mmm. I just have a mixture of olive oil, balsamic vinegar, salt and pepper. This is the best way I like to experience focaccia. Forget about it. Is this the best one I've made so far? All right, here we go. We're gonna go with the one with the mozzarella cheese. You can't say no to that, can you? Uh-oh. Oh, fuck. That's not okay. I promise you I'm not even exaggerating. Like, if you know me in real life, if I eat good food, this is how I react. You wish you were me right now. Oh, this is fucked up. I'm gonna need a moment and I'm gonna eat more of this and then I will talk to you in a bit, okay? Give me 1 second. I have no words. I am actually speechless right now. Like, could you imagine eating that with like pasta, a vodka sauce, and just like scoop it up with... This bread has literally taken away some of my brain cells. That's it. That's the focaccia. If you're ever trying to impress somebody, definitely whip this up because number one, people are like, Oh, homemade bread. But then you whip out this shit. It's game over, man. Make this bread. You probably have everything in your pantry to make this right now. Turn off this video. Before you turn off the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. After that, please make this bread. You owe it to yourself. That's all, folks. Peace.